Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to my talk today. My name is Emily Lonigro. I'm the founder of LimeRed Studio. We're a 19-year-old branding agency, and I'm also the founder of another new company called Even Made, where I teach home improvement skills to everyone else. The reason why I'm talking to you today, and I wish we could interact, it would be so much more fun, but I'm very available online. So I'd love to get questions about this presentation anytime. You can find me on Instagram at Emily S. Lonigro, or you can email me, emily@limeredstudio.com. I'm here today to talk to you about B corporations and what they are and why they're important and why I decided to become one, I think 9 years ago now. So I don't know if you've heard about certified B corporations. You might have seen this B logo with a line at the bottom. It's a B with a circle and a line around, maybe on your shampoo or on some home cleaning products that you buy. Maybe you buy 7th generation products. Anyway, certified B corporations are a global movement of businesses who are committed to doing business a different way. I have a couple slides to talk you through like some of the more prominent B Corps and why I decided to become one, but I just want to get this out of there right now. There are 2 different entities similarly named. It's very confusing. There are certified B corporations and benefit corporations. Just to get this off the bat, certified B corporations are any for-profit entity. So you can be an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, a DBA, a sole proprietorship, anything that's for-profit that has gone through a really rigorous certification process that looks at 5 different areas of your business and gives you an overall score based on your answers. It's an adaptive certification process. And the first time I did it, it took me about 6 months. Since then, I've done it 3 times, and I'm coming up on a recertification in 2024. So I'm getting prepared now. Benefit corporations are a legal entity like an S Corp, but when you form a benefit corporation, you infuse languages in your articles of incorporation that say, we're going to make decisions based on people, the betterment of people, planet, and profit. So it's a legal entity. You can be both a benefit corporation and a certified B corporation, or you could be one or the other. It really depends. And benefit corporations aren't available in all states, but the certification is available worldwide. So just to get that out there, legal entity certification. My business is an S Corp, and I certified as a B Corp first, I think I said 2009. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly and just give you a big level overview of what B corporations are. Here we go. So like I said, we're using business as a force for good. And some of the companies you might have heard of are like, I don't know if Etsy is anymore actually, but Cabot Creamery, Ben & Jerry's, Patagonia, these are some of the Danone, these are some of the big companies that you might have heard of, or you might actually buy things from, and there is more and more every day. It's definitely a global movement. And I've met B corporation owners from all around the world in this big, awesome community. We usually get together once a year, and then there's lots of subgroups I'll talk about later that get together more regularly, and then also get together in person throughout the year. Like I said, our collective vision is to redefine success in business as more than a bottom line. If you know about American corporations, the legally defined goal of any American corporation is to maximize shareholder value, which means the only real reason that you are in business, like that you can legally claim, is to make money for the people who have a stake in the business, right? So we like to think about this differently. We like to think about this as creating value for the stakeholders in the business. And the stakeholders of a business can be anybody from a community member, you're a person who works with you, a partner agency or a partner company, the environment, the city that your business is in. So we don't want to be this extractive capitalist model where all we're doing is taking and making money. We want to make sure that we are building an inclusive, equitable, and regenerative economy. And B Lab, which is the certifying entity of B Corps, could say this a lot better than me. So I'm going to play this short 2-minute video for you to give you an overview of what I'm talking about.
Throughout history, humankind has created a multitude of different economic and social systems. Traditional systems, absolutism, Feudalism, communism, capitalism, the list goes on. And while systems are complex, the truth is they were built by people, so they can be changed by people. After all, humanity is interdependent with one another and with the planet. The problem is, this is often forgotten, and short-term gains are prioritized over long-term value. Me over we, now over the future, inequity over justice, profits over people and planet. Leading to this and this. All of which are negative impacts of our current economic system. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can transform from profiting only the few to benefiting all, from concentrating wealth and power to ensuring equity, from extraction to regeneration, and from individualism to interdependence. It is not an unreachable ideal. It is the reality that we, the B Corp movement, are already building.
All right. So that gives you a little bit of an overview of like why we're doing this at all. It's kind of to be not crappy corporations, truly, and to build a community of people who are doing the same thing so we can learn from each other. So I want to talk a little bit about how you become a B Corp. So like I said, any for-profit entity, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, DBA, sole proprietorship, whatever, can be a L3C, if that's still a thing, can become a certified B Corporation. And the way you certify is you take this thing called the B Impact Assessment. Now you can go to B Impact Assessment, just the letter B, impactassessment.net, and just create an account and kind of get a sense of what thing is assessing. All you need in order to do that is 2 years of revenue. That's it. You can be a 1-person company. You can be a 3,000-person company. You just need 2 years of revenue because it's a retroactive assessment. So it says like, what have you done in order to meet these criteria? Right now, the impact assessment looks at 5 different areas of your business. It looks at your impact on the environment. It looks at your policies and impact on your workers. It looks at how you are governed, so it's governance, so how you set policies and procedures in your own company and share those with your staff or your team or the community at large. And then it looks at your impact on and your interaction with the community. And then it also looks at your customers. And so right now, these are the 5 areas that the impact assessment is looking at. So you can start your assessment and answer the questions, and I'll give you some sample questions. But also B Lab is considering a shift to a different assessment that I think the idea is to make it a little bit more equitable for smaller companies, because we have really big companies like Patagonia and Ben & Jerry's assessing, and then we have small companies like mine who have 7 employees and 10 contractors also assessing. It is an adaptive assessment. So the way that you start answering, it'll give you different questions based on your sector and your size and what you do. So for example, my friend Kate runs a cleaning products business here in Chicago called Milliard Cleaning. They are also one of the oldest B Corps in Illinois. And they have service, or they make a product. So they have things like supply chain and production and physical waste that I don't have as a service business. So right now we're considering going fully remote. We do have an office space, which does impact our environmental footprint, but we're looking at getting rid of that and going fully remote. So we aren't creating like physical product waste, and we also don't have a physical logistics-based supply chain. So it measures different things based on the kind of business that you are. But so if any typical American company, or actually international company, took the assessment, they would score around 50 points. The assessment is a points-based thing up to 200 points. I don't know anybody who's gotten 200 points. Like that's kind of, you're a perfect company, I guess. Literally out there planting trees. I don't know what you would do. So my company scored 97. The threshold is 80. The name of the game in order to be a B Corp is to score above 80 points. So the assessment itself is very rigorous, and it's written in kind of a legalese language. So sometimes if you don't have a person who's really good at that, it can be kind of hard to do. But the idea is to to answer as best as you can. There are people at B Lab, like I said, the certifying entity for B corporations who will help you. And there's also a lot of community members. Like me as a business owner who's been a B Corp for a long time, I'm happy to answer questions. There are lots of smaller groups where you can join as a pending B Corp, and we'll help you get there because we've all done it and it's really not that easy. But anyway, so you answer these questions, your name of the game says get above 80 points. Then what B Lab does is it takes your assessment and it asks you to prove some of the things that you said. So for example, it says some of the questions in the environment category will say, do you track your electricity use? Do you know how much of that electricity is made from regenerative energy like solar or wind power? Do you conduct life cycle assessments on your products and services? Do you buy carbon offsets to offset your use of non-renewable energy in any way? That's one of the things my company does. We use a service called Acclimate, where we put in inputs of how many resources we take up as a dispersed team. It calculates our energy usage, and then it gives us local companies where we can buy carbon offsets to offset our carbon footprint. So we do that to make sure we are not just carbon negative, not just carbon neutral, we are carbon negative. And that is something that gets me major points in my B Corp assessment. And it's also just good for the planet. So I'm happy to do that. And then it also in environment says, do you encourage your suppliers to audit their own impact? So how do you hold the people, like things that are part of your COGS in your business? So raw material suppliers, or in my case, freelancers or other agencies who supply services to me in order to do the work. Do I encourage them to also audit their impact and hold them to a higher assessment standard? The answer is yes, I do. And that's publicly available information. So those are the kinds of questions that they ask in each category. For example, like workers, what they're interested in is, do you pay a living wage to your employees? They're also interested in, do you pay a living family wage to your employees? And what is the multiplier between the lowest paid and the highest paid worker? So we don't want to see like a huge split between CEO making like a factor of 300 above the lowest paid worker. We want to have a little bit more pay equity in there. Do you subsidize professional development? So for my team, we are subscribers to Udemy. I have professional development for all my staff. We are always learning. We are always doing something interesting and bringing that knowledge back to the team. So these business practices that the B Impact Assessment asks you about are not only just good for people, they're good for your business. Because if you're paying a living wage and paying people what they're worth, they're more likely to stay with you and feel like they're being taken care of. In my case, doing this B Corp stuff and learning about how to make more and more progress every day on the way that I run the company and the policies and procedures that we keep helps me retain employees. And so I don't have attrition. I just don't. In the pandemic, up to now, people don't leave. And I have no problem attracting talent. And one of the other things is, so I'm a certified B Corporation and also a certified WBE and LGBT company. And one of the things, and I'm not gonna lie, like keeping up all these assessments is not easy. It takes up a lot of my time, and some of them are every year. But I did a survey of my clients a few years ago. I think it was actually pre-pandemic, and I asked them like, why did you hire us? Why do you stay with us? Is it because of the quality of work? It is. But it's also values alignment has a lot to do with why people hire us and why they stay with us, especially now. As I'm a branding agency, and a lot of companies have gone through like an operational or DEI assessment and are starting to employ some of the recommendations in those assessments into their business practices. But as a branding agency, they're looking like, how do we talk about that? How do we communicate that to our whole team? How do we communicate that and onboard new employees? How do we talk about that to our customers? So a lot of people are looking for values aligned branding agencies because we've been doing this kind of stuff since our inception at LimeRed since 2004. So like we've been doing this for nearly 20 years and certified as a B Corp for 9 years. So there aren't a lot of other companies who can take someone through that, who understand that internal process and then understand how to operationalize some of these kind of do-gooder practices and then communicate those out into the world and make it not just lip service, but actually internal operation protocol, SOP, I guess, if you're doing that. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about governance and community and customers and give you some examples from my business. So governance, like they're going to ask you, do you have what's called an open books policy? So that means, do you share financial information with your team? In my company, we do that every month. So everyone sees the budget, everyone knows how their role fits into what we're doing as a company, which not only helps people understand the stake in the business that they have, they understand that if we meet all these financial goals, there's financial reward. So some of the things, since we've been able to have a profit for a few years in a row, some of the things I've been able to do is offer a fully stocked HSA. So I give my employees a prepaid HSA to use for co-pays and glasses and acupuncture, whatever else we do. We just this year started a simple IRA. We will bonus everyone at the end of the year when we have a profit, and everyone knows every step of the process to that. Nothing is a secret in terms of money and the health of the company. So they really see how their role fits into the whole picture. Because when you're working in a role in the company and you're not at where I'm looking at everything, it's hard to kind of feel like you're part of a team, or like know that, oh, if I miss this deadline, then that sets the company back, 2 weeks in terms of revenue. But it really makes a huge difference. So open books is a big piece. One of the other things that we've done is looking at the language and the purpose of some of our just business documents. So looking at like an NDA or a non-compete or a contract, like a primary service agreement. And really thinking about the purpose of those agreements. So yes, a lot of them are to set standards and to shield us from legal problems later. But a lot of the business documents that I just did in the beginning, because I thought you needed to, are really about people at the top hoarding power. So I had to take a really hard look at the language of those documents to look for racial and gender bias, and really think about what I'm asking my employees and my contractors and everyone else to sign up for. And is it to protect me if I do a bad job that they can't retaliate against me? Like, that's not fair. Or is it protect everybody in the company from some kind of external threat? Like, I really try to think about what is the purpose of these documents that are the founding documents of the company, and change them so that they're more inclusive and equitable, and try to write them in a language that people understand. So those are ways that we have kind of operationalized this do-good mentality into the actual business structure of our everyday. Governance. So governance is probably my nerdiest and favorite thing to talk about. But community also, like, do we purchase goods from local businesses, from businesses within a certain square mile from our not square mile, mileage around our company, because we're wanting to keep the dollars in our community, and that helps everybody. Do we source from minority and women-owned suppliers, veteran-owned suppliers, disability-owned suppliers? Like, are we looking at who owns the companies that we're buying from? Because it really makes a difference. Are we creating job opportunities for underserved populations? These are things that we can think about as we look for employees. Where do we post our job postings? Do we post them with a salary? Do we have a formal partnership with a local nonprofit? Do we have a buy one, give one policy? Like, these are things that we can do as a company that not only help us meet our bottom line, but serve our community as well. And then the assessment wants to look at your customer base. So for us, it's a no-brainer, because most of all of our clients, our foundations, are nonprofits. So they're all in the public interest or in a humanitarian interest. But we want to say, like, does our product, like, if you have a product, business, does it address a specific social or economic problem for your customers? For example, like Tom Shoes, you're buying a pair of shoes and they're making a pair of shoes for somebody else, like for people who need shoes. Or does our product or service benefit like an underserved population by either directly supporting them or supporting organizations that support them, which is what my business does. And then how can we describe and measure the positive outcome that our business makes in our community? So it's always for this assessment about measurement. And the thing is some of these things are really, really hard to institute and achieve. And some of these things are really, really easy to institute and achieve. So like the first time I did the assessment, it took a long time because while I was doing it, I was implementing a lot of the policies that it was asking for, or at least formalizing them. So like I had an advisory board for my business that was made up of people who could give really good advice about the business, but I hadn't formalized it. I hadn't put it on the website. I hadn't announced it. And that was a really easy thing to put together that, that would count toward my B Corp assessment. Also things like providing health insurance or having an employee handbook or having a supplier diversity statement on your website or publishing your mission statement on your website or your values. Things that you can pretty much do in a day that give you a few points and help you toward that score. So I want to talk a little bit about like what happens when you actually become a B Corp, because there are lots of things that happen. Number one, the reason I stay a B Corp is because there are a lot of companies right now that say we're doing good, but there's no proof. And I like to measure things and I like proof. So the B assessment gives me a number and something that I can say, I went through this really rigorous process and the things that I say, somebody else verified that we actually do. Here you go. And not only have they done that, but they've done that 3 times. And that's pretty great to do. It's a lot more than just like taking a box and paying $300 and getting some kind of certification. Also, the community that I'm a part of helps me become a better business. So I'm part of this group there are many subgroups in the B Corporation world. There's a climate action group. There's a dismantling white supremacy group. I'm part of the We the Change group, which is all the women B Corp owners. It's also a lot of just purpose-driven company, or we let anybody who has a mission-based business be part of the group. And in that group, we're a global group. And I am the leader for business leadership, which is just one of the things that we do. So concretely, the things that we're working on in business leadership are, as a group, finding things that we can do to advance certain issues that affect a lot of people. So right now, what we're doing is we're working on how can we close the wage gap in all B corporations as a model for other businesses to follow. And we're coming up with some ideas. We're also saying, how can we open access to voting for everybody in our company? So in terms of wage gap, some things that we're thinking about doing collectively is always publishing the salary with every job posting. We're all going to do a wage assessment in our own companies. We're all going to close any wage gaps that exist. And we're all going to work together and pressure other companies to do the same and sign on with us, because those are not things that are hard to do. And if we do them, we can make huge, huge progress for everybody affected by wage discrimination and just the wage gap in general. In terms of voting access, things we're thinking of is no meetings on voting days, or we close on voting. My company, you take the whole day to vote. And some of us are providing transportation, voting information, encouraging people to use things like LimeRed to prepare your vote, and just general education about voting. We're not picking sides, we're just increasing access and a day off to go do your civic duty and vote. And then once we all have these things this is all in formulation right now, we pressure other B corporations and then corporations at large to follow suit. And these are the things that can really change our communities, our business world, our environment, our planet, by doing some really simple things that not only help the world, but help us as business owners position our companies, differentiate our companies, attract talent, retain talent, and make incremental progress on environmental and different kinds of goals. I just wanted to close by saying the way that you can get involved is by going here. I'm going to share my screen again because I have a nice little slide. Doop-a-doo-doop. Here's my PowerPoint. I don't like PowerPoint, but here I am. So what you can do is go to bimpactassessment.net. It's free. There's no charge. And start your assessment. Just answer the first couple of questions. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. You can find me online, Emily Lonigro. I'm very easy to find. And there's also a B Corp handbook that gives you the rundown of what's going down. I did mention fees. So it's no charge to do the assessment. Once you are approved as a B Corp, there is a fee. It's variable based on your revenue. So if you're a small business, you're not going to pay a lot. If you're a humongous business, you're going to pay a lot, because in terms of percentages, it's fair to do that. And I think I pay $1,000 a year or 500. I'm not really sure, but it's not that much. It doesn't impact my business. And I really feel good about contributing to the community. So if you have any questions, please feel free to find me. Emily at LimeRed Studio. I'm on Instagram at Emily S. Lonigro. My companies are LimeRed and Even Made. And I hope to see you at the next B Corp Champions Retreat. Thank you. Have a great day.